Content creation in Dubai looks glamorous from the outside. But behind the reels, the brand deals, there's a lot of stress and sometimes burnout. With us today is one of the great content creators here in the city. Thank you so much for being with us today, Denisa.
George, I am so happy to finally be here.
And I'm so happy to do this interview with you because you worked with us in the past.
I think a lot of people know. I don't think it's a secret that I used to work for Virtuzone and I used to endorse Virtuzone a lot. I mean, the people saw me at the radio, people saw me at the events, people came to me and asked me, Denise, how do I start a business, man? Tell me the legal stuff. What about tax? And I always was like the Virtuzone endorser.
And now you're a great content creator, very funny person. A lot of people actually send me some of your reels and I say, you know what? She used to work with us. And they're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyways, well done on you. Tell me a bit about Denisa. So tell me a bit about your background, where you were born, where you grew up. How did we get to where we are today?
I feel like we're having a deja vu from like my interview.
Yes,
from the job.
Only I didn't interview you. To be honest, I just looked at you and I said, okay, hired, right?
You had a quick chat. You're like, oh, she seems funny. Yeah, let's get her on.
I like her. By the way, humor gets before parentheses, humor gets you by so many things in this world. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think humor is what hired me actually.
It could be.
The director who hired me back then, he was like, you made a joke. And I was like, you know what? We need this around the office. We need someone with the personality.
Yeah, so true. Okay, so tell me about you. Tell me about where you're from, where you grew up, how did you end up in Dubai, the usual story.
So born and raised in Romania, in Bucharest, but then moved to a farm. This is where all the farm stories that are true, by the way, all the farm stories come from. Very simple, humble beginnings. My mom left in 2004. She went to Qatar.
Okay.
This is when like Europe was kind of struggling financially. People were leaving, She left to Qatar. I followed her in 2008. So I moved to Qatar in 2008 when my mom went to school there, hence the, Americanized kind of English accent.
Yeah.
From Qatar, went to the UAE to university. I actually studied
I didn't know that. I had no idea that you studied in UAE.
Not even. I studied in Ras Al Khaimah.
Okay, interesting.
American University of Ras Al Khaimah.
Nice.
And I really liked it.
What did you study, out of curiosity?
Media.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
Mass communication, digital media. I wanted to get into film, investigative journalism. And then I graduated. I found myself in Dubai. I looked at the rent prices and I was like, wow, to be a journalist
investigative
in this economy,
journalism is going to have to wait.
It's going to have to wait. And then marketing was like, well, we pay and it fits and it's still creative. So that's how I started like my corporate marketing career.
Okay.
I started working at Vox Cinemas. I did that for a few years. And then after Vox Cinemas, I went solo during the pandemic. I lost my job along with millions of other people and had to reinvent myself. And it had to be quick, right? Because I found myself in Dubai by myself, no way to go home. No one was hiring, right?
At the time, no.
Literally no one was hiring. And then I set up a company with very little money that I had left. And when you leave a job, they give you a little bit of cash in there, right? So I was like, what do I do?
End of service,
End of service. So I got a license so I can get my visa so I can stay in the country. And I started doing freelance marketing services. And at the same time, I started doing fitness training. Because the local women and all the women...
You were training people or you were training yourself? Okay.
I was training people because the gyms were closed. So I looked at the market. I was like, what can I do that I'm good at? And that's also a gap in the market. And a lot of women wanted to train at home.
Very smart, because you know what? You know me, I'm not a big gym fan or gym buff. I am nowadays because of my age and because I have daughters. But at the time, it was the only time where I actually trained. And my wife forced me to train at home via Zoom with her trainer.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was conscious of it, that we needed to move and we needed to get trained. So very well seen on that.
Yeah, because people were locked in the house.
Yeah.
Right? And then I saw also the market was a lot of the local women only wanted female trainers. So then I chose the niche of I'm only training local women and I'm going to their house and, it's a service.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well.
Wow.
And that with the freelance marketing and the fitness training.
You got by.
It worked for a while.
Yeah.
And then it kind of stopped working. It was too much work, too many hours put in, and the money didn't make sense. And I looked at the money and I was like, I probably have more time if I go back into a job. Yeah. And that's when I started working with Virtuzone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you did a fantastic job with us, and we loved you there, and we miss you, like I told you, I was just telling you. At what point did you feel that first you were capable, and two, you could make serious money out of being a content creator?
So now that was the academic professional side, right? Now the artistic side has always been there. I've always been a bit of a performer, right? Comedy was something I liked to do. A bit of a clown. I always was. But I didn't think I was going to do comedy. Yeah, I didn't think I could monetize. And I think a woman in comedy, girls weren't really doing stand-up. Girls weren't really doing jokes. 2020, again, very big turning point.
You know, it's true, come to think of it. How many stand-up comedians do you know who are male in Hollywood? There are so many. And tell me to name 2 females, I probably can't. I mean, I know some of the actresses, but not, you know.
Same, by the way.
Crazy.
I didn't have any female comedian role model. It was always the men, right? It was the big Dave Chappelle and, you know. Yeah.
I can think of Rosie O'Donnell, but was she really a stand-up comedian back in the day? I don't even know. Not really.
Yeah.
She's more of an actress, but yeah.
So again, a very niche thing, you know. But it was TikTok. 2020, TikTok came around. Everybody was locked in the house. I saw the videos. Now, I wanted to start making videos.
Yeah.
I never thought, by the way, that it would go there. I started doing fitness videos and psychology videos, and nobody cared. And one day, me and my best friend, she's Lebanese, and we do this like accent challenge.
Yeah.
So she used to do the Lebanese accent, I used to do the Russian accent. And I posted
which you get very well, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you train for it or did it come naturally? Naturally,
just linguistic skills. I got to be thankful for that. And then I started doing that accent. I put the video up and it was like, hello, my name is Elena. I'm looking for a rich husband.
And that just picked up like
and
crazy.
It picked
I remember
up,
those videos, those first videos that you did, yeah.
And I remember being like, what? This is what people want to see. Then I tried to do fitness content again. And people were like, no, where's Elena?
And was it on TikTok where you got the most followers to start with?
Yeah, TikTok started.
That's your biggest platform.
Yeah, it was my biggest platform.
And now what is it?
Instagram.
Okay, nice.
Instagram. I mean, when Meta realized the algorithm of TikTok and they realized how fast things are growing, they readapted the algorithm for Reels.
And did you at that point start thinking, okay, how do I monetize this now? Or were you just having fun and you wanted to do most of it and the ego is getting satisfied? So
at first, remember how I said I was doing freelance marketing?
Yeah.
So I was like, if I'm going to market videos and things on TikTok, I need to understand the platform. So let me use it so I can understand
the algorithm. Is the algorithm that important as people say it is?
It was in the beginning. I feel like now when we say algorithm, it's just this like, it's kind of like, oh, AI. You know, we all know what it is, but do we really understand it?
Yeah, so, like some people tell you, oh, I'll post at 6 o'clock or at 6:05, or does it make any difference really?
It keeps changing.
Okay,
it keeps changing. So in the beginning, it was, post at a certain time, multiple times a day, and then the algorithm picks it up. But now the algorithm picks up on engagement. Do people comment and like within the first 30 minutes of you posting the video?
Yeah.
Then that automatically takes the algorithm. If this is an interesting video, it'll push it out to people who don't follow you. If not, it'll just stay within your followers.
So how many followers do you have on TikTok now?
1.1 million.
Wow, that's huge. And on Instagram?
1.3.
And how many of those, and this is real talk, so we say it as it is. How many of those do you think are real followers that really follow you and it's not machines or stuff like that? Not that I'm saying that you would have bought them, but
of course.
But for different reasons, I get people sometimes following. I have no idea who these people are.
So I didn't. So I've never bought any followers because I knew that if you buy followers, it kills your page.
It kills you.
But it turns out that when bots start an account,
they follow
have
people.
To follow someone.
Yes.
And it usually, so who has the most bot followers? Kim Kardashian type of 20, 40, 50, 60 million followers.
Yeah.
There's going to be at least like 500,000 of them. There are bots that had to follow some accounts in order to look legit.
Correct.
I don't know how many of them. I would love if there is a tool out there to see how many of them are inactive so I can get rid of them.
Do you track the engagement of those followers? You have tools for that, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I just look at the engagement. I see what people are reacting to.
And be honest with me here. Do you look at your content and see which one, what kind of content people like more, so you'll do more of that? Or do you just do what your creative mind tells you to do?
So in the beginning, it was just because it was all the ideas. Yeah. I didn't care if you got likes.
Do you write them down sometimes, your ideas?
I didn't in the beginning. It was as chaotic as I'm driving and I have a thought and I was like, do you know what I think is funny? And then I would share it. And I think it was that authenticity. Like one of my biggest, most famous videos back in the day on TikTok was me with, my hair was a mess. I was in my pajamas wearing no makeup in a dark room.
You'd post no makeup, no problem?
I wouldn't care.
You don't care.
I wouldn't care.
Do you still not care today?
I care a little more
because
now.
You have a character. You've built a character.
And it was 5 years ago. You know, it was a lot more forgiving. It was 6 years ago. I didn't care. And it was that authenticity and that chaotic vibe that really did well on TikTok and it still does today. People wanted to feel like it's a FaceTime call. Like I'm just calling a friend and be like, you won't believe what happened today. And that just resonated so well.
People want insight into your life. People love that, no filter type of.
Exactly. And the fact that it wasn't well lit, well edited, well thought of. It was just chaotic and simple. It just looked
And it's crazy.
Realistic.
Remember we had done these experiments. I don't know if you were around, of doing these hand shot videos on iPhone and or on whatever phone in the office. And they did pretty well on social media when we were doing stuff for Virtue Zone.
I never understood
TikTok, that, but
For TikTok, I always say TikTok, go chaotic, go low cost. For Instagram, you can be a bit more polished. LinkedIn is a whole different story, you know. But definitely that authenticity. And then the skits kind of took off, and then I also had to grow. I couldn't. So in the beginning, it was the Russian sugar baby trend, you know, I don't do 50-50, like blah, whatever. So I kind of jumped on that trend. I did not invent it. I copied what other people did.
So that's another question I want to ask you. Do you copy or do you get inspired? And you know, I don't like the word copying because a creator is a creator. You're not going to copy, you know, unless you're saying exactly the same words and delivering in the same way. That's copying. But every comedian gets inspired by things. He gets inspired by daily events. He gets inspired by the news. He gets inspired by cliches. Gets inspired by all this stuff. Do you sometimes, for example, see jokes in Romania or wherever, and they say, you know what, this is really funny. I'm going to transfer. I'm going to adapt it to Dubai and do it in Dubai. You must. I mean,
absolutely.
Not everything comes from invention.
Memes, videos, real life examples. Sometimes I'll see something and I'll just write it in my notes, and it'll be a sentence of something.
And is this okay in the community or in the industry? Yeah.
And I'll even tell you, even on the stand-up thing, I remember I was doing a joke. Right before me, there was a girl who did a joke, and I was like, and that was the first time I heard her joke. And I was like, no, I wrote that joke. Yeah. How did she know? We didn't know that we both wrote.
But it's a common subject.
It's a common subject.
And it's funny.
Exactly. So sometimes you're like, okay, 8 billion people, okay, 1 million creators, 3 of them are going to think the same.
Of course.
It's, you know, and then there is the inspiration part, and then there is the trends part. TikTok was made to copy each other's content. That's why they made trends.
All right.
Right? We do a funny video today, and that gets copied and readapted to like 200 million other videos.
Yeah.
And then it became okay. People are like, oh, I know this trend. Oh, you guys did the trend. That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's no longer like, oh, I did it first, why are you doing it? Now it's kind of, it became that internet culture of if something really blows up, people are going to
copy it,
redo it in their own way.
Yeah, because it works.
And we do that as well.
So right now I see you doing 3 things, right? I see you doing your own content, funny stuff on the different platforms. I don't have many platforms, actually. I have Instagram. So
you're active on Instagram.
On Instagram, I've canceled my Facebook page because it got hacked a couple of years ago. I couldn't be bothered bringing it back and all that. I never got into TikTok. I think I'm too old for it, and they all cater to different type of generations, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I love Instagram. I mean, I spend too much time for my own good on Instagram. So I see you do your content, which is quite funny. Very funny sometimes. You have a group of comedians that you interact with a lot, collaborate with in terms of content. Nice guys I met a couple of them. Some of them really make me laugh. And you have your stand-up. Your stand-up work that you do. I've been to one of your shows, one of your first shows. You came in the very beginning of my career. I would love for you to come again now. I would love to come back again. I would love to come back, and I'll always support you. As you know, you're a part of the Virtue Zone family, and you always will be. So how do you deal with these 3 things differently, right? So I would imagine that your collaboration work with the other guys, it's a split pot, or whatever money you guys make out of it, you split it. Your comedy work, you're obviously paid per show, or I don't know how that works. And obviously your content's your content. You have your brand deals and so on and so forth. Tell us, for example, let's go to the stand-up stuff.
Yeah.
How do you make money out of stand-up comedy?
So stand-up,
because this is what the show's about, right? If somebody's dreaming of becoming a stand-up comedian, how am I going to make money? How does it work? And all that?
Look, I'm relatively new into stand-up. I'm just 2 years in, which is very new for stand-up. This is a craft.
Some of them
that
do it for years and years and years before.
10, 12, 15 years before they get a 1 hour special.
Never give up.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I thought, you know what? If I'm going to be good at this is going to be my moneymaker. I'm going to be, no.
It costs you more than you make.
You know, think of actors who start from the ground up.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
You are literally a starving artist. And if you really love the craft, then you have to love the craft more than you love money and comfort. You know, and luckily when stand-up came into my life,
difficult for a Slavic girl to love the craft more than money.
Right? Because I had other streams of income.
That was a joke, by the way. Nobody got offended.
It's actually true. But because I've made money from other sources, I had other sources of income, I didn't look at stand-up as something that has to make me money. And then I made peace with it. I was like, you know what? This is a hobby. People play paddle on weekends. I tell dirty jokes in dingy bars.
Do you love it?
I absolutely love it.
Do you feel great when you do it?
I love it so much that I don't care if it doesn't pay.
Exactly. That's amazing.
However, I wouldn't do it this hard if I didn't think it is going to pay one day. Right? It's a nice hobby, but I'm not doing 3 nights a week just because I'm bored.
We'll talk about the future later. That's something that I want to discuss with you. Okay, and then you have your content. Your content's pretty easy. It's brand approaches you, says, look, we'd like you to place this brand in your content. You think of a way of being creative and placing it, and they pay you some money for doing it. Your group of comedians, or what did you call it? The
collaborations.
The collaborations that you do. Is that the same concept as creating your own content and then you place some products, or how does that work?
I would say the collaboration strategy 1 is to increase your reach and your awareness, right? Because if we collaborate and I get access to your audience, you get access to mine,
so
and
you're
now
reaching a lot more people. Yeah.
So these are all organic content. We don't get paid for it. YouTube is the only platform that pays us at the moment, and it does okay. It's
Peanuts,
not. I could put.
Are you guys friends in real life?
Best friends. Like
all
Anand and I are best friends. We actually live 5 minutes from each other. So
I've met Anand with you.
Oh yeah. So even like after this, I'm gonna go and help him shoot a commercial. He's not gonna give me a cut. I don't want a cut. We're helping each other. We're at that stage where like, bro, I'll help you. I'll be in your video. Be in my video next, and then that way. And sometimes we get brand deals together, and that was the whole strategy. We're like, let's make these really like cool collaborations. Brands see that we work so much better together, and then we do a package deal. Exactly, and then we split the money.
What sacrifices do you have to do to have this life, to have this comedy life? Because, you know, somebody who doesn't know you, Denisa is always funny, always in the best mood ever, always pretty, always happy-go-lucky. She's always friendly with everyone. That's not the reality. I know the real you. I know the real you. So how do you keep that off camera? And what are the sacrifices that you have to make to live that? It's not easy to go out every day and be funny and be in that mood where you want to be funny and you want to make people laugh, because we all have our highs and lows and we all have our circumstances in life. And sometimes I'm in a very bad mood, and sometimes I'm in a great mood. And how do you manage that? Because you have to be funny, in a good mood, wearing your character every day when you're online. And given the nature of what you do, you have to be online quite often in order to keep your following going. How do you manage that?
Look, I'm not gonna toot my own horn, and I'm no Selena Gomez. You know, I don't think I'm at a level.
What does that mean? Sorry, for a 47-year-old, I'm no Selena Gomez.
Toot my own horn.
Okay.
It's like I don't want to like put myself up too much, because I'm not at that level. Like I said, alhamdulillah, like I have a following,
and hopefully you get there.
But I'm not. People don't die on the street when they see me. Oh my God, Miss Denise,
I want a picture. Is it starting the pictures? I want a picture.
No, it is. It is, but it's in a nice way, you know. And I don't look at myself like.
I'm a Hollywood star.
I like to believe that like celebrities are celebrities, and then online celebrities are
different story.
You know, you're on a lower scale. Relax, you're not.
Well, yes and no, depending on how online you are, right?
Yeah. I think I'm trying to be humble, you know, and also like keep myself on the ground as much as I can.
Yeah.
Look, one difference I noticed from before my comedy career and after is that I've actually started isolating myself a lot more since this blew up.
Okay.
And we were talking about preserving your energy, right?
Yeah.
I do need to preserve. So because I'm not naturally an extrovert, I'm more of an introvert. I can be very good at being an extrovert, but I need my time to recharge. And now that I'm facing so many people, especially with stand-up after a show, people come and they want to talk and they want to get a piece of you, and you have to be on. You can't just... Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. So you have to preserve that character throughout, right? So if you're in an extremely bad mood, you know, we all wake up on the wrong foot, wrong side of the bed, or on the wrong foot some days. And what if you have a comedy show in an hour? I mean, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm not sure if I can go out and make people laugh, right?
I remember I don't remember what I was going through, but I had a really bad day, and I had a show at 9 p.m. and I was driving to the show stuck in traffic, crying. I was like, I'm so stressed out. I'm so tired. I don't want to do this. And I was calling the producer. I'm like, please, like, I don't think I can do it. And I love the producer because he was like, I don't care, you come and do it. He's like, you will never be a real comedian if you give up. He's like, wipe your tears and get on that stage and make these people laugh. They came to see you. And I wiped my tears and I went on stage and I killed it. I did such a good 10 minutes.
Feel
and then
good?
I felt so much better afterwards. So it's like in any other, you know, even any other industry, you got to suck it up sometimes and just do it.
I don't feel like working every day. I'm not gonna lie to you,
And if you feel like crying, go home and cry and then wash your face and then do it again. Now, I don't know. I don't think it's that difficult. And plus, I also have the luck where I've kind of shown my audience the real me a long time ago. I'm not a very happy-go-lucky all the time online. I complain. I will say like, you know, even if I do it in character. But then I'll give you a very example. Like when I lost my dad earlier this year.
Sorry to hear you.
Thank you. It was very difficult. Tough. And then I remember being like, okay, obviously like I'm not gonna talk about it in a way to like monetize it or try to get sympathy online. But then I feel like because I share because I share so much of my life, it would be weird if I just disappear for 3 months.
Yeah. And I can't do these jokes every day during this time.
Exactly. So I'm like, instead of explaining to each person individually and replying to messages, I decided to put it out there and just be like, look, this is happening. This is what I'm going through. Expect delays in messages. Expect me to not be around. Expect me to not be present. And I just put myself out there, which was very scary. Very scary because I'm like, I don't know how this is going to be perceived. It was perceived very positively.
Yeah, of course, because you're sharing. Again, people love the insights into your personal life. And which brings me to my next question is, what is it that you wouldn't share, that you won't share?
My romantic life.
You won't? Why? You used to, because you used to shoot with your girl, with your ex-boyfriend.
Exactly why. Because if you put that out there and it doesn't work out, then it's kind of like, yo, if you made me part of your relationship for 2 years,
and I want to break up with you.
I want to know the breakup as well, which fair enough, right? So then like, when,
it's true. I never thought of that.
Right? And then when my ex was not around in the videos anymore, people were like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't want to talk.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to put the camera and be like, hi guys, so today I'm going to tell you about my breakup. Like I really didn't want to have to do that. You know, so it just kind of silently like let it die and not address it. So unless like, I think I'll just post a picture of me on my wedding day and that'll be it. And people will be like, what? She's married? I'm
or
like,
you know, you do the she said yes.
Literally, that's it. And then try to keep it. And for example, if I have kids, like my sister just had a baby, and like as much as I
you're posting that baby all over the place as an auntie.
I covered his face. So there's like certain things where I'm like only because she said yes.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Of course.
So there's like family, like romantic, children, like all of this stuff. I'm gonna try to keep it as personal and private as possible.
What type of content truly helped you, and you realized that content is the one that really like fast forwarded it all? The Russian stuff?
You probably heard me complain before. I can go on a rant.
Yeah.
Right? And I have to add a bit of humor to my rants because otherwise they're just rants.
Yeah.
But if I want someone to listen to my rant,
but you're very witty with the rants.
That's the thing. You got to make it witty. But ranting help. I am Romanian. If I don't complain, I have a headache.
You're rant by nature.
I have to complain. So I was like, I started taking my rants online and I would complain about things and people were like, that's really funny. Oh my God, you're such a good comedian. I was like, no, I was being honest.
Being myself.
I was being myself. So that did help me a lot. I felt like it was such an outlet. And the same thing with stand-up. Like I write some dark stuff in my stand-up and I make fun of it, you know?
Yeah.
And then at certain shows, I had to rewrite some jokes because some people were like, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm like, no, it's fine. This is funny.
It's me.
He's like, no, but no child should go through that. I'm like, girl,
relax, toughen up.
It's stand-up comedy at this point, like it's material. So there's a lot of dark stuff that I was able to make fun of. And this is...
And I think it's good therapy. Look, I think you're able to get it out and share it with the world. You know, we live in an era now of... There's a lot of content creators. Like every Tom, Dick, and Harry is trying his luck, and some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's really, really bad. How do you manage to keep up or to compete in a certain way with all the material that's out there? Because, you know, as you said, everybody copies everybody, and everybody gets inspired by everybody, and it's a fine line between inspiration and fraud, you know, and whatever the word is, fraud or
stealing,
stealing content. How do you manage to keep creating new stuff? Is it non-stop thinking? We're talking about taking notes before, which you probably do now. Is it non-stop thinking about it? Is it, well, it'll come when it'll come? Or is it, do you have some sort of training for it or some sort of methodology for it? Especially that there's so much content being created around.
So you know how like when you do something long enough, it just kind of becomes normal?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to ask a football player, what did you think before you shot that goal? Like you thought about shooting the goal because you've done it 100 million times. So I feel like with content, because I've done it for 6, 7, 8 years at this point continuously, there is a mechanism there that comes automatically in terms of like, that'll be viral, that'll work, that's a good twist.
You know what works, what doesn't?
I kind of know what works and what doesn't. 1, 2, I'm very lucky that I built this character or characters. So in the beginning, I started with one character. Then I introduced multiple accents. Now I have multiple characters and wigs and their own personas that I can bring. So
do you have ones that you like more than others?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What's your favorite one?
I love the Lebanese character, although I've had feedback from some Lebanese girls that were like, we don't talk like that, Habibti. I don't like it.
You definitely do talk like that.
When you do this Lebanese accent, it's not nice. I love the Lebanese accent.
You're really good with accents. I got to give that to you.
I like the Indian accent as well. At first, I thought it was going to be...
do people get offended?
That's what I thought, right? So I kind of gambled on it. I was like, you know what? One time. I'm going to do this one time. And then the feedback, until now, I get comments, please do this in Indian accent. Where's the Indian accent? And I'm like, are you sure you guys are not getting offended? I'm sure some people did get offended. But
out west, you can never do this. I think you can never do this.
Maybe.
You know what? Out west, in my opinion, I've thought about this before listening to you. An Indian can do an Indian accent.
True.
Right? An Arab can do an Arab accent.
True.
But a white boy doing an Arab accent or an Indian accent wouldn't pass. And that's really a shame, because comedy is comedy. I'm one of those people that thinks comedy is comedy. Let's laugh at ourselves. Let's laugh at everybody else. And comedy is just, it's good therapy in general.
Yeah, of course.
Coming back to brand deals, have you ever refused? I mean, I know it's early in your career. You don't have the luxury really to refuse brand deals. Have you ever refused? Did you receive? Yeah, you refused one?
Yeah, I refused a few.
For what reasons? Without naming them, obviously.
Some of
or
them,
if you want to name them, name them. This
oh
is
no,
your
I will
talk,
not
but,
name
yeah.
them. That's definitely not something I'm
That's
gonna
good
do.
for the career, but why did you refuse them?
Look, I don't want to get too political or too, sensitive. Some brands were affiliated with some
So you didn't align with the
boycotts
values.
or
So you didn't align with the values.
It didn't align with the value, right? Now, in terms of if these things were true or not, I don't know. But as an umbrella,
you preferred not to.
I was like, let me not associate myself with this brand right now because I'm not sure. And if I'm not sure of the outcome, I would rather lose some money and then keep my integrity. You know,
good for you.
Yeah.
Every entrepreneur, and we're interviewing you today, or we're talking today with you as an entrepreneur because you have become your own entrepreneur and you're your own.
You
product.
guys set up my license and everything.
We did, and you're your own product. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Tell us about one big mistake you made early on or recently or whatever it is that was really bad. Because I want to share that with the audience. I want the audience to know that even successful people do make mistakes. It could be something small, it could be something big, but you've surely done mistakes, and some of them must have marked you, I would think. Not necessarily financially, it cost you. Maybe you would have gotten insulted by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't really get anything, any feedback or any good feedback from a certain video that you thought would be great. Or maybe you managed your money wrong and you ended up being broke for a couple of months or whatever it is. Share one of those experiences with us.
I haven't really. Do you know what? I feel also because I'm in the comedy field, it's a very forgiving field as well. I'm not doing lifestyle where I'm this perfect picture person that has to keep up. I'm a comedian, so I'm gonna say sometimes outrageous stuff and sometimes sarcastic stuff, and it kind of goes away. I definitely. Again, there's so much sensitive stuff happening in the world where I try to not put myself in there in like political, for example. I don't want to get involved in politics.
You don't want to get in that space.
Right? And then there is like, you're effed if you do, effed if you don't. Get involved,
in politics,
right?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I'm a comedian and I'm an entertainer, and my own personal views, I feel like it shouldn't, because we have this influencer status, I do have the power to influence some people, right? And I'd rather just kind of step away from that. I did get involved with the politics at some point. Right? And then I had to step back because of the backlash, because of...
You had backlash?
A lot of backlash.
Okay.
And it happened in 2 rounds. And again, I'm not going to mention exactly what political thing it was, but it happened a few years apart. The first one, and I can talk about this. This is when
you can talk about the subject that you talk about without going into who gave you the backlash. So what was the first political event?
The first thing, I mean, it was. I didn't do it on purpose, but I should have been smarter about it. It was when we were doing the Russian sugar baby thing, and then the Russia invaded Ukraine, right? And then I just kind of continued. That was my character.
Yeah.
And I was getting literal death threats in my DMs.
Really?
And people were like, I will hunt you down. I'll find you in Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah. People were very angry about it because they thought that I was promoting the country.
Promoting Russia.
Yeah. And I was like, no. This is a cultural thing. We're just making fun of accents here.
Calm down.
And that's when I rebranded and I stopped doing so much Slavic stuff, and I focus more on the Balkanic region, the Eastern European Balkanic region.
No war there for the moment.
No, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, let me not promote something that's hurting people's feelings right now, that's hurting people's lives right now, that if somebody who's suffering from this sees that word, or and then I kind of let it die for a bit, and then I moved on.
And then a few years later, you made the same mistake probably with the Middle East situation. No?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where I had a very strong opinion.
There's a mistake that we were supposed to talk about. Yeah.
And that's that. I had a very strong opinion, and I put that on my story. I went very, very this is where I stand and whatever. And I had a lot of backlash from it.
Do you regret doing it?
No.
Good.
I actually don't regret doing it. But if I had a PR manager at that point,
he probably would have told you stay away.
Literally, my mom messaged me. She was like, look, you have a good heart. I understand that you care.
Yeah.
But this is not something that you want to do publicly.
For your career, yeah.
For your career and for your own mental well-being.
Yeah. What's one misconception that people have about the content creator life, the influencer life, the comedian life, whatever it is, besides the fact that, they must make so much money?
Right? So one is that we're filthy rich. Yeah. Okay? One. Yeah. Which I hope it comes true. And then
I hope for you.
And then the second one is that we're a bit lazy and a bit, it's kind of like, I feel like a lot of people think that influencer is what you do when you're not really good at anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy. You work half an hour a day, or you do a half an hour post a day, and then you're making all this money, which it's not true. It's a content.
And you have so much free time.
It's a consistent creation exercise, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that's the misconception, that we're not that smart and we're not that, we're kind of lazy and we just
got lucky.
We got lucky. lucky. That's the thing.
I hear it a lot. Yeah, they just got lucky.
And my luck only took about 7 years to form.
And it's still being formed.
Yeah, and it's still being formed.
Before
and
you
that
make
was
some real money.
every day. Even at the office, sometimes I'll get an idea. I'll shoot like in a corner and then I'll put it up. Every day I had ideas and I was like, and I remember at some point, it took me 4 years to monetize, by the way. 4 years to get my first brand deal.
Paycheck.
And these 4 years, I posted every day, sometimes 3 times a day.
Which tells you how hard it is to get there.
Like a mad woman. Yeah. And then I got my first brand deal and I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. It wasn't a lot, you know? Yeah. And then I got my second and my third and my fourth. And then...
Speaking of brand deals, is it hard to stay authentic when you sometimes have to represent something that, let's face it, you don't really care about? Like you said, you know, you're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna represent something that you don't like.
Yeah.
I don't think you're that type of person. But something you don't really care about. You know, hairbrush. Okay, this is a great hairbrush brand, but I don't really care about this hairbrush versus another one. Is it difficult to stay authentic, or just part of the job? Or
I will say that what I've noticed with me and my comedian friends in the same circle, because we help each other so much, that we kind of not started a movement, it was there before, but we kind of made this thing where I will not do a brand deal unless you let me be me and you let it be a skit.
Do you have the luxury of putting those conditions at this point already?
Yeah. And then they come to me and they're like, no, we want you to make it in your style. Make it comedy.
Smart brands, that's what they want you to do. They want you to do it. That's why they're coming to you.
And then the fighting happens when sometimes they're like, okay, but we have these 20 USPs and we need you to mention all of them. That is 20% from this date to this date. If you buy here, and I'm like, listen,
sorry, it's not gonna be me.
Right? Yeah. I'm like, if I do that, even in the middle of a skit, you just lost 70% of the viewers. So do you want retention or do you want an ad that you can show your boss?
Do they listen to you?
90% of the time. And then now after some time, I've built really good relationships.
I would listen to you. Look, you know, when you were at Virtuous Zone, we worked with influencers as well. When the influencer comes and tells us, look, this is not going to work for my audience, you have to believe him. Like, why wouldn't you believe him, right? You want something that works. That's why you're picking that influencer. Let's talk a bit about the money, okay? And this is real talk. And people are listening to us. Some of them might be dreaming of what you're doing now and dreaming of wanting to do it. So let's talk. We have to talk about the money. I want to know, the audience wants to know, at your stage in your career, and let's call it, you are now getting known. Okay, is that fair to say? You're now getting known. You're not a superstar. You're not you're a local celebrity maybe, but you're not a world celebrity. And hopefully that comes in the next few weeks, months, whatever it is, whatever it takes. Is it sustainable for you today? You just said you spent 4 years of posting without making a single penny. Is it sustainable for you today? Somebody like you today. I'm not going to ask you how much you make a month, obviously, but let's say for a world-renowned brand, right? What is the bracket of what they would pay somebody like you to do a collab, right? Let's say to do a couple of posts or to do a campaign, a small campaign, but like not something that's going to go on for weeks, something that is a one-of, let's say.
Look, it really depends.
I'm sure it does.
Like agencies come like, either this is our budget, or they ask me what is your rate, or they be like, this is our budget.
What would be your rate?
I don't want to disclose my rate.
Okay, what is your rate? No, I don't want to know what is your rate. I want to know in the industry, somebody of your caliber, what is the interval of rates?
I'll tell you exactly, because I have shopped around and talked to people.
Okay, so you know, so you have that info.
So I have a range, and I would say for somebody who's average, so who's around like, I don't know if you consider a macro influencer at $1 million, but let's just say $500,000 to $1 million.
Yeah, let's say you're in the top 500 influencers in Dubai.
Right. You would probably make from one campaign anywhere between $3,000 to $20,000.
To $20,000.
Literally, really, really depends. And I think that depends on a lot of things. One is, what's your engagement? How loyal is your audience? How
what kind of budget the advertiser has?
What's the budget they have? Because some campaigns, they'll be like, oh, it's a really quick one, and we come and we film and we edit. So then I don't have to pay a videographer and an editor, because now I can't do everything myself. So I also have to pay people to keep this machine going. Yeah. So I put that in the cost. But sometimes they'll come in and be like, listen, we did a deal last year and we paid you this much as a favor. Can you do half the price than you would normally? So it really depends. Relationship building is very important. Barter agreements. Yeah. And then sometimes the campaign has the budget, and then you go the extra mile for that. So I know I've heard some influencers make way more money than I did. And I was like, why didn't I charge that? Like, why did I undercharge myself?
You learn, right? And you put yourself on the map. And are you limited by the number that you can do? I mean, not by others, but by yourself. Like, let's say, I'm going to be very silly and very basic here, right? shampoo brand, right?
Yeah.
You got a shampoo brand that wants to do a collab, and then you have a soap brand that wants to do a collab, and a hairbrush brand. And I'm sorry, this is like really a dumb example. Do you say to yourself, well, I can't do them all in the same week, so I have to do one now, one in 2 weeks? You just
I'll do them all.
whatever comes.
Unless
there's no rules for that.
Unless there is a non-compete clause.
Okay.
So if somebody will come and say, look, if you sign this, there's a non-compete for the next 6 months, then I have to charge extra for the non-compete. Just in case your competitor, I just lost.
Will you do
this
if
much.
there's no non-compete? Would you do 2 competitor brands? If BMW came to you today and Mercedes come to you in 2 weeks,
it has happened. It has happened.
You do it?
Yeah, and then my.
But how do you keep your credibility when you
This is
say
the thing,
like
and then my agent-
when you say Mercedes is the best car and then 2 weeks later, well, BMW is the best car?
Because
And this has
don't-
happened recently with an influencer that we work with.
Yeah.
And I literally told him or her, because I don't want to say who it is or allude to anybody. And they said, that's the business. That's the business, and I will find a way to twist it into that favor now. And I'm like,
So one of the ways is that, look, and I've worked with competitors before, and I do feel bad. And I remember my agent at some point being like, yeah, but you just did these guys last week, and now these guys want to sign you. What do you think they're going to say? And I was like, what do you think they're going to say?
We had an issue with one of
we
the.
did have an issue, and I remember I got very upset, and then I changed the contract and I put a non-compete clause in it because we learned, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you learn. But look, I don't go out there and say this product is the best on the market. I'm like, hey, this product exists, and right now they have these sales. Do you want to get them?
Yeah.
Oh, and this competitor exists, and now that they have these sales.
Yeah.
So you decide which one you want to go with. I'm not a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
So I'm not endorsing the brand necessarily. I'm a channel to let you know that this is happening right now.
But you don't do one of those, I use Vidal Sassoon or whatever.
I haven't done any of these products. Yeah. Interestingly enough, so far what I've advertised were a lot of.
I keep on going about beauty products, but anyway.
I've done a lot of F&B.
Yeah.
Where I have eaten the food, and I've done a lot of like companies that do very generic, like food delivery stuff.
Yeah.
And then usually when I do the food delivery stuff, they have a specific sale going on.
Yeah.
And they tell you, we want you to tell the people that we have this sale
we're
happening.
30% off. Yeah.
So I'm not telling you this is the best ever, and then the funny thing is I use all of them. You're in Dubai. How many apps do you have on your phone for food delivery?
I use one personally, but I have them all.
I use all of them.
I'm just lazy. I don't want to learn a new app.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I haven't done any of them where I was like, or I don't know, have I? I don't want to say that I haven't ever, and then like somebody comes back, what about this video?
You said this.
I'm pretty sure that and I just let people know of what the product is. But again, if it's a product that I don't believe in at all, at this stage, in the beginning, I took whatever I could,
which is understandable.
Whatever I could.
Now you have the luxury of picking
now I have the luxury
and building your image and your pedigree. Content creation is a lot about trends, like you were saying, right? Social media is a lot about trends. Some of it's built around trends, like TikTok and so on. What trends today annoy you, piss you off? This is annoying. This is this is that.
You know what? Trends don't annoy me. You know when it annoys me? When I've seen it too many times. So I think it's when it's overdone, I get tired.
Do you understand those algorithms, like the Insta one? For example, like I see content that is all the time more or less the same, I would say. Whereas my other friends will be seeing something completely different. That I have one friend that keeps on sending me these. I'm like, where do you see these things? Like I never come across them. All I see is the ones you send me. He's like, but I get them all the time.
I tell you why. Do you ever like or comment?
I do.
So when you like or comment, when you interact with a video, you tell the algorithm you're interested. Or if you rewatch a video, or if you watched a video and you clicked on the profile to check out that profile, you're communicating to the algorithm, I'm interested.
If you had to start again from zero, right? Let's go back to 4 or 5 years ago when you did your first accent thing. What would you do differently?
I thought about that many times. And I used to think my only regret... I have many regrets.
Of course.
My big regret was that I didn't start earlier. Why didn't I start
take it seriously
when I was 22, 23, when I was so much younger?
You would have done your 15 years and now you would have been world famous.
I thought about that. I had the youth and the beauty because the internet is very unforgiving, especially to women. People are telling me, it's like, oh, you've aged. Yeah.
Well, I am older.
It's been like 6 years, I was in my 20s when I started. Like, I'm 32 now. Like, yes, I will
People
continue
tell you
to
you've
age.
aged.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which, whatever, I'm going to Botox tomorrow. But that's... That's not the point.
Me too.
Yeah. I used to wish that I started earlier.
Okay.
Thinking that by now I would have definitely been in the multi-millions, right? But then I thought about it and I was like, would I have been able to handle this at 25? Because I was telling you before we started, I live way...
You wouldn't have the same intelligence either.
I wouldn't have the skills to deal with it. The burnout, you've seen me burn out before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't...
And that's a real thing, right?
That's a real thing.
And it's important that people know, hey, you're the happy Denisa that's always laughing, always this. I've seen you burnt out big time I've seen you, almost in tears saying, look, I can't. I'm burnt out. I'm tired. I need a break. I need this. I need that. And you weren't even doing full-time comedy back then. So this is normal. People need to know that this is normal. We all go through it. You've seen me very tired. You've seen me burnt out. I've told you my stories when we used to discuss it about burning out. Everybody has to be careful with to what limit they push their body, their minds, all that. And this is something, mental health, that I'm a big advocate of. We don't talk enough about it. I'm an advocate of taking care of mental health. I'm not an advocate of laziness. I'm not an advocate of I need to work from home 4 days a week. I'm not being used as an excuse. I don't tolerate it. But I'm a big advocate of you need to take care of your body. You need to take care of your mind, and that's very important. I'm not talking again about work-life balance, all that stuff. I really believe that if you wanna succeed in this world and you wanna become successful, you have to work hard, right? That work-life balance has to take a sidestep. But your body is your temple, your body and your mind you need to take care of, because without them you can't do anything. Exactly. Sorry, that was a side parenthesis thing that I had to vent out on. What advice would you give somebody today that? And I have a lot of friends like that. I actually think I'm quite funny sometimes. And people that say, you know what, I'm funny. I always make people laugh when I'm in crowds. I want to, you know what, maybe I want to do something out of it, and I want to monetize it, and I want to become maybe somebody who's a famous comedian. What advice would you give these people?
Take an improv class.
Really? You think it helps?
Do it for fun. Don't go in there thinking like, oh, if I fail, I will never be a...
But that's like an oxymoron, like an improv class. Isn't improv supposed to be like non-scripted?
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
Because that's where your natural humor comes out, right? Okay. I've never taken an improv class.
Okay.
So it's coming from somebody...
practice what you preach.
Yeah. But what I've seen from people who had a funny bone, and I've always been naturally a performer. I love the stage. I love attention. Give me a mic and a light. Even if I don't have a script, I'm ready to go. And that's always been me ever since I was 4 years old, right? Some people have it naturally. Other people have the funny bone, but they just don't have that courage to come out. So there's in Dubai, we have stand-up comedy courses that go for a month. We have improv classes, and a lot of stand-up comedians went to those classes, attended it, and now they do stand-up as a hobby. They don't care about making money. Yeah. There are people who have 9-to-5 jobs, and then on Friday they come and they tell jokes on stage, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful community.
It's great for them. It's great.
But the advice is do something about it. Try it out. You know
what has content creation comedy taught you about yourself that you didn't know, if anything?
That I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. I have a thicker skin than I thought I had.
You thought you were much more sensitive?
Yeah. And I am. I think in order to be creative and sometimes to be funny, you have to have emotions. And again, I use the word artist because I used to be so humble back in the day and not call myself an artist. I am an artist. I perform on stage. I write material. I'm an artist. And none of these things... We have a joke within the comedians. No comedian is sane. No comedian is happy because you do this because you have something that you're using as fuel for your comedy. Yeah. Some dark stuff or sad stuff.
And that's why so many comedians end up badly, huh?
Yeah. So I am a very sensitive person. I'm very empathetic. I cry easily. You've seen that. But that's because I also like to believe that I have a big heart. Yeah. I can be petty and I can be mean, but I have a big heart as well.
I can safely tell or say on this podcast in front of our audience that you don't have one single bad bone in you that I can sell.
I've been mean.
No, not really. You think you've been mean, but you haven't. But
know when you have a bad day and you snap at someone who didn't deserve it.
We all have a bad day, but you're not a bad person. That's for sure. Well, okay, I'm gonna finish with this. I want you to finish this sentence.
Yeah.
Being a content creator looks great, but ...
Being a content creator looks great, but...
Or looks easy, but...
It's not for everyone.
It's not.
It's not.
Denny, thank you for sharing all these thoughts with us. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for the insights. I'm sure a lot of people have loved to see the other side of the camera, if you want. So thanks for sharing all this with us. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time.